So welcome to this week's edition of Making Sense. And if you've been following the coverage on ENCA or you've been living under a rock, and I want to remind you, this is going to hurt, a fuel price hammering, a hiding coming in for those that have to rely on their vehicles to get to work. It doesn't matter what that kind of vehicle is. It can be petrol, it can be diesel, it can be a scooter. It's not going to matter because let me just remind you the numbers, unconfirmed, because we're waiting for the Central Energy Fund to come out with these numbers. Petrol, just petrol, hope you're sitting down for this, 93.95. We're expecting between R3.50 and R5.20. That one hurts. Okay, diesel drivers, find someone to hug because this one is really going to hurt. We're expecting the diesel prices to increase between R6.50 and R8.60. Estimated. Central Energy Fund will still come out with their official numbers on that. What now I'd like to do, however, is bring an expert into this particular conversation, understand what are the options. You can buy a bicycle, but traveling to work is quite far. Bicycle, yes, you can get a tandem, but maybe not the way to go. A well-known leading voice and expert in this field. Are we knee-jerking it, or does it sound like a good idea? Michael Pashut, CEO and founder of Changecars. The reason I'm bringing him in is I want to talk about electric vehicles, EVs, hybrids, and internal combustion engines. We're going to refer to them as ICE during this particular interview. Michael has very kindly made time to come through and talk to us. Michael, lovely to have you with us on Making Sense. So are we all selling our cars? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I hope not. And I was born in 1973, and we all remember there was an incredible fuel crisis in 1973 in the Middle East. You said the expert, a 25% price increase in fuel. I mean, this is unheard of. The good news is, it cannot last. The other good news is it's not unique to South Africa, Gareth. We must remember, we're not in oblivion here. This is going to affect Europe. It's going to affect North America, South America. It's in nobody's interest for this to last. Not even the oil-producing countries. I believe it's going to be very short-lived. You're going to have this R5 increase. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. But come June, it's going to change.
And this is why the discussion, because you've taken a look, and I've been taking a look at so much interest suddenly in the EVs, the electric vehicles and hybrids. And it sounds like the way to go. But as you say, this could be short-lived. But let's park the short-lived part for a moment. Is EV and is hybrid still a viable option for South Africa? Maybe now it starts coming back into the zeitgeist, but is it still a viable option?
Let's answer it two ways. No knee-jerk reaction. If you are not considering an EV or a hybrid in March or February, don't do it now. If you were considering, maybe it's the right time. Second-hand electric vehicles are the most incredible value for money. The drop-off in price on a new one to second-hand is massive, roughly 50% on a 3-year-old vehicle. So if you are looking at an Audi, for example, that was 2.5 million new 3 years ago, and you can get it for R1 million now is the right time to buy it. And why do I say now is the right time? Because don't wait another month if this crisis does continue, because then the prices are going to hike again. Of course it is,
because demand will go up, prices
Always
will go up.
Supply and demand. But if you say to me, what is the happy medium? Not electric. It's a combination of electric and ICE engines. And I think you've often used the term ICE engine, internal combustion engine. So what is the challenge for you with EV? If I say to you, I'm in the motor trade, you're a member of the public, what for you is the perceived challenge with EV?
I'll tell you what my challenges are, because for those that have been following ENCA Drive, Michael knows this. It's one of our driving shows. It's the driving show on ENCA. I had one for a couple of weeks. It's a particular brand that offered us the vehicle for let's call it a mid-term test. But that was during the height of the blackouts, the load shedding. The blackouts, Eskom don't like us saying blackouts. And I was struggling to get the vehicle charged at home through my regular power supply. And I was trying to work out, can I actually get to work the next day? Never mind running errands, just getting to work.
Angst.
It's anxiety. I didn't know if I was actually going to get to work the next day.
And that is why, for me, plug-in hybrid. So worst case scenario, we have 2 days of load shedding. It can happen. There's no EV station around, but I've still got my engine. So I've got the best of both worlds. When electricity is freely available, I've got the plug-in hybrid working to perfection. So if I say to you personally now, you're hedging your bets, where's the future? It's called PHEV. That is where it's going to go.
Our technology in South Africa, when it comes to the charging stations, at this point, I would imagine your train stations, it's your shopping centers. Again, it's the big metros.
Sadly
We're
limited.
talking, it's very limited. We're talking about a very small, and I want to say privileged segment of South Africa that can even consider one of these vehicles. The entry point is incredibly high, and the accessibility to the infrastructure is incredibly limited, isn't it?
The biggest problem with the infrastructure is I don't believe government has got an incredible desire to change that. It's not in government's interest to change that. When I say not in government's interest, where they're going to make money on taxes, fuel tax, fuel levies is superb. And remember, we're not being negative. We're just being realistic. Governments make money from cigarettes, from alcohol, from fuel. So it's not in their interest to go and develop the EV infrastructure in this country. The private sector naturally will try. But you take well-known shopping centers, and I'm not picking on them. Give me 3 well-known shopping centers in Joburg, Hyde Park, Sandton City, Bluebird. In what kind of EV infrastructure do they have?
I can't say I've seen. Minimal. Yeah.
Correct. So now all of a sudden, 8 people, 10 people, 15 people, 30 people arrive there for lunch. They want to spend 2 hours having lunch, and they want to use a charging station. I assure you, and I said, not picking on those centers, not there. That is why I say there's limited infrastructure that the private sector can do, and the government is not embracing EV for the reasons I mentioned.
So that's the EV side. And I think when obviously we look at what you do when it comes to change cars, it doesn't necessarily mean, Mike, change cars to EV or change cars to hybrid. I drive a diesel guzzler. I'm proud of my vehicle. Gandalf, it's the name of my car, is a good old 3.2 liter, 6-speed Ford.
Oh, Ford.
It's a good old Ford Ranger. Okay. It gets from 0 to 100 by Wednesday, but right. I can drive through any pothole that you can throw at me in Gauteng. Yes. The changing of cars is not just the extreme, the EV or the hybrid. It's changing a car to any other car that is seemingly far more fuel efficient. Do you think we could see a move to that? Because a lot of the cars these days, you're looking at 1.5 liter turbos, 1.2 liter turbo, SUVs in some cases. There are still very good vehicles that aren't hybrid or EV.
So what is interesting is the term fuel efficient. Now, and again, I say it respectfully, I've got a few years on you. You're a young, good-looking young man. I'm an older guy.
I didn't pay him for that, by the way.
That's the truth. I started in the trade in 1991. Fuel efficient in the 90s was if a car could achieve the magical figure of 10-10, either 10 liters per 100 or 10 liters per kilometer. If you got that, that was fuel efficient. Today, if somebody said to you 10 liters per 100, oh my word, that is shocking.
Yeah,
you want around 6 liters per 100, 5 liters per 100. However, that is very, very fuel efficient. For me, any car that's using 7 liters per 100 or less is doing very, very well. Why do I mention this? Instead of changing cars, people should look to buy a car that they can keep for between 5 and 9 years. So it's a combination of fuel efficiency, longevity, brand cachet that they've got, that they say, I trust my Toyota, I trust my Ford, I trust my Mitsubishi. Why do I say you want to keep the car for 8 or 9 years? If you remove the payment that you're paying to the bank every month out of the equation, I say it respectfully.
Once you pay the car off.
Correct.
Okay.
Does fuel consumption have any bearing? If I'm saving 7, 8, 10, 12,000 Rand a month, I'm putting 2,000 Rand of that towards fuel. Absolutely no problem. So buy a modern car today, ICE engine or plug-in hybrid, that you know that you can keep for between 5 to 8 years ideally, and you're A for away.
Let's be honest though. We're talking about just the numbers you mentioned. You and I, we can talk LSMs and income brackets and living costs all day, but let's be fair as well. Even if it wasn't EV, even if it wasn't hybrid, and it was just maybe a downgrading, respectfully, to a smaller capacity engine, a lot of people, Mike, still don't even have the finances, the financial ability to even look at another car. And I think this is where many people are feeling trapped right now, because there's nothing they can do. This is the car they've got. They can't afford a new one. Maybe their finances don't allow them to even consider a new car, and they're feeling stuck and jammed right now.
I hear you. So let's look at two scenarios. I'm looking to buy a car. The one thing that you've always got to factor in, and people don't do it, is the worst case scenario. A car that I bought in October, I didn't factor in this 25% because it is a 25% fuel increase. So my maximum budget was 8,000 and I spent 8.5. I'm already over budget. Now I'm really over budget. So what I will say to buyers, when you buy a car, if your maximum budget is 8,000 Rand per month, spend 6,500 Rand a month, got 18,000 Rand a year in the kitty for unforeseens. When you buy a car, it's not about image, it's not about performance, it's about what can I afford. The good times will come later, but do it wrong up front, and unfortunately, the bad times will come sooner than you realize.
The knowledge behind changing a person's car, do most people know what to look for? If you were changing your car or I was changing my car, what advice could you give someone who's now looking at this fuel price increase? Forget the EVs and hybrids. That's out of the income bracket. It's not budgetable. What tips do you give someone going, maybe it's time to change? Because now you have to start looking at the used market, the mileage of an ICE engine as well, and obviously what I need to carry my family around and groceries. What advice do you give someone?
Excellent. Honestly, if I say to you, excellent question. And I often make a joke. If it's not itching, don't scratch it. And if it is itching, go to the chemist and buy Johnson's baby powder.
Go see a doctor.
You take 8 out of 10 people, Gareth, and I'm telling you I'm right. I don't say this arrogantly. They're not changing a car because they have to change a car. They're changing a car because they've got that proverbial itch. The car's fully paid for. The car, I'm a little bit bored of it. Is the car giving you any trouble, Gareth? No, not at all. Hasn't given us a day's trouble. Fully paid for. Why do you want to change it? Well, we feel possibly it's just getting a bit boring and maybe a bit heavier on fuel. So you're going to go spend 5,000, 7,000 Rand a month for the next 60 months to save 1,500 Rand on fuel. No disrespect to anybody. Not a smart move. Now, I know the motor dealers will say, guys, please don't air this show with Michael.
Don't say that.
Don't say that. But just remember, if you don't have an actual need to change the car, don't change the car. And that's why I said to you, around 80% of sales that we find, we've got something on our website called Keep It or Change Cars. And it's very, very simple. We will always tell you the truth. Hi, Michael, I'm driving a 2017 Honda X. It's got 130,000 kilos. I've had it since new. I'll give you two answers. Do you want the short answer or the long answer? Short answer is keep it. The long answer is allow me to explain why to keep it. So remember, I'm the eternal optimist. I say that with pride. It is what it is. Nothing lasts forever. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and I spoke to you about it in our interview that we had live. Do you remember what the price of oil was? It was negative.
Yes.
They were giving it away. They were saying, if you've got a tanker,
Bring
couple
it.
of tankers, bring it, take the oil, take as much as you like, come back tomorrow. Sounds like we're joking. We're not. The exchange rate today, roughly 17 to 1. A month ago, 16 to 1. 10 months ago, 12 months ago, 20 to 1. Everything is cyclical. Nothing stays the same forever. So at the top of the pod, you asked about knee-jerk reactions. Don't go make a knee-jerk reaction today. If this is going to persist for the next 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15 months, sure, planning has got to be done. But I personally think this is short-term and don't keep it or change cars. Basically keep it.
Why do you do what you do? Where did this come from?
Because I was uneducated and I couldn't go to university. And that is not said in jest. In 1991, I matriculated in 1990. And I did not get a matric exemption.
Just by the way, I was 7 years old, in case you're wondering, just for the record.
Okay? Yeah. 11 years apart. And I've always had, like a young boy, it didn't make me special, a passion for cars. But what I've got more, and it's not a sales pitch, is a passion for people. Because if you do the right thing today, it will always come back to reward you. If you do the wrong thing, naturally the converse is true, and it will come back to punish you. So I take a great pride in building long-term relationships with customers. I do the right thing by Gareth today. What is Gareth going to do when he speaks to his mates? Remember, it's sounding righteous and royal, not meaning it like that. But too many people tell you what they want you to hear. I will always say to you, I tell you what you need to hear. I love when I speak to a person, they say, but Mike, how do you make money if you tell me to keep my car?
Yes.
I make money long-term. And again, proud of it. And if I can share with people, you can visit the Changecars website. My name, my number, my email address is there. It's there for a reason. I want the public to reach out. If we can make a difference to a few people, not to make a mistake that they could have avoided. Mission accomplished.
You're one of the very few people that I know in the public space, very well known. People recognize your voice. They recognize what you look like. They recognize the work that you do. I have to ask, why, and I mean respectfully, are you silly enough to give out your cell phone?
Very, very simple. Practice what you preach. If you talk about brands doing things wrong, for example, people who follow our podcast will see we take on certain well-known OEMs. They've got problems with their paintwork. They've got problems with their motor plan, and they're not doing the right thing. You try to get hold of those companies, and it's like speaking to a computer that doesn't want to speak to you. That computer is actually a human, but you've got to follow all the processes that you shouldn't follow. If I say to you, hi, can I please have the telephone number for the CEO of manufacturer A, B, or C? The CEO's telephone number. What are the chances of you or me getting that?
Zero.
I flip that around. Practice what you preach. Do I never have a problem in my business? Of course we have a problem. But the problem is not the issue. It's how you deal with the issue. Gareth gets hold of me easy and says, hi, Michael, you don't know me, but I bought a vehicle through one of your dealers and I've got a challenge. I'll say literally, Gareth, I'm going to keep you on the line. I'm getting Martin on the line. Hi, Martin, try to be quick and to the point. I've got Gareth on the line here. He's got a challenge. How do we sort this out? Gareth is impressed. Martin is appreciative. And it's a win-win situation. You let anything fester, and it literally becomes a proverbial boil.
So 1st of April, as we know, April Fool's Day, which there's nothing funny at all about what's happening with the fuel price. What are you expecting to receive on the other end of your line, Mike? People phoning you, and with the fuel price increase, they're telling you what? And what are you telling them?
So what we've repeated in the podcast, patience. This cannot last. It will not last. Look at all the positives. Remember, it is what it is. Are interest rates at an all-time high, or are they nice and low at the moment in South Africa? They're nice and low. The new car market and used car market is doing really, really well. We saw the NAMSA figures for 2025. If it ain't broken, I keep saying don't fix it. Everything is going well. People are able to get into the car market today a lot easier than they were years ago. Give you a simple example. Finance typically used to be over 5 years, 60 months. Today you can do it over 9 years. You can do it over 72 months, 84 months, 96 months. Okay? All I'm saying is keep that car for a little bit longer. You can stretch it. Don't do anything wrong and do that knee-jerk reaction. I will not allow, and I say it with pride, not arrogance, anybody that phones me to make the wrong decision. I can't force you to take my advice, but I give you my word. The advice I will give you will be the right advice for you, your family, whoever it may be.
Can I change track ever so slightly? Change track.
Talk about soccer. Okay,
we can talk about soccer. Man United, obviously the best football team in the world. Don't get Mike started on this one. It worries me when we see manufacturers. I'm going to use just one of them, Ford, only because it's not because I drive a Ford. There's no affiliation. No one jump and scream at me, please. I just happen to drive a Ford Ranger. But there is a full-on electric Ford Ranger that is produced in South Africa that is not even available in the South African. It's exported. Ford doesn't even think as a country it is worth introducing. Now, I don't know what they cost. I don't know what they could cost. Not even worth introducing into South Africa. We'll rather just send them overseas. And it doesn't bode well for the confidence of industry believing, to your earlier point, that government even has a plan.
Government definitely doesn't have a plan. Now remember, the OEMs that are manufacturing in South Africa, and let's give a big shout out to them, because anyone that's manufacturing in South Africa is creating jobs. Mm-hmm. Ford, Isuzu, Volkswagen, Nissan are now ceasing to do it, but they were manufacturing here. But let's focus on Volkswagen, Toyota, of course, Toyota South Africa, the incredible plant in Durban. I've had the pleasure of touring the Ford factory in Silverton. Now, let me tell you what is incredible. You can be in the Ford factory and you see cars being manufactured. Which side is the steering wheel on in South Africa?
Right.
No, sir. Depends. Every second car's on the right. You'll see cars being manufactured. It's incredible to see. And it's not that they disheveled or anything like that. They just do right-hand drive, left-hand drive, left-hand drive, left-hand drive, right-hand drive. It all just depends on the orders that are coming through. So the left-hand drive market, obviously North America, European market. But to answer your question, why are they not even talking about it. Because I will guarantee you, Ford South Africa, VW South Africa, Toyota South Africa have engaged government at the highest levels and said, tell us how we can help. Tell us what you need. Tell us what we can do to boost the economy. Not interested.
No answer.
So Ford, to their credit, have got an incredible export market. If you go see the factory in Silverton, you will see the cleanest, quietest, neatest factory. To Neil Hill, MD, and the team, well done. And all I pray is that more manufacturers set up shop in South Africa. And that is something that maybe for another podcast, or if you want to discuss it, the amount of people that are coming into South Africa that are looking to start factories here. Are you aware of how many Chinese manufacturers are starting production in South Africa?
Can't say I know.
It's very, very impressive. So BAIC Beijing in the Eastern Cape. Chery is taking over the Nissan factory. Photon, a brand, remember the name Photon, that brand is doing that. The growth, the product quality, they're starting what they call SKD in Port Elizabeth. And I sound like I'm interviewing you.
What's an SKD?
Semi-knockdown kit.
Semi-knockdown kit.
So if you take Ford, Toyota, VW that I mentioned, they will manufacture the vehicle from scratch in South Africa. Literally, they take sheet metal and produce a vehicle, produce the engines, produce the drivetrains. SKD means it comes in from China. The components come in, but it's cheaper to import the components in a box.
I see, right.
And then you
put it together.
Correct. So if you take the incredible brand that is Hyundai, when it came into South Africa in the early 1990s, it didn't come in fully complete. It came into Botswana at the time. And then it was, there was not a manufacturing plant, but there was a plant there, and it was called SKD. So as knowledgeable as I sound, it's thanks to Hyundai that I know the term SKD.
So as we begin to land this particular plane, so come April, if someone is only tuning into the podcast now,
there is turbulence.
And there is turbulence.
Look,
let me tell you, 8 Rand for diesel is a lot of turbulence. I'm holding on to my armrests. The air hostesses are sitting down. The pilots are panicking at this point. Your advice right now, if you have an ICE engine, internal combustion engine, your advice is?
If this persists, if we can say the economists are forecasting that this is here to stay for the next 9 months, 15 months, 24 months, whatever the case may be, it cannot happen. It will not happen. Then absolutely reassess. But please, I beg you, when I say take my advice, it's not in my interest to tell you to keep your car. Visit Changecars. There's 38,000 cars for sale. The dealers will love you. It's in your own interest to weather the storm for 2-3 months. In real terms, what I would love to talk about with you as well is how do you save petrol, Gareth? Okay? What would you say, in your opinion, is the most fuel usage that a car has?
The stop and start.
Absolutely. So again, look at it from, let's turn a negative into a positive. Say to your company, hi boss, I want to work an hour later. Is that possible? I want to work an hour earlier. Just make sure the whole country doesn't do it. Also,
at the same time, there's peak traffic again.
If you drove from Pretoria to Johannesburg, let's take in Gauteng, where a large percentage of our listeners and viewers will be watching from. Pretoria to Johannesburg in the morning, that is absolute peak hour traffic. That peak hour traffic lasts for more than 2 hours. But if you could leave Pretoria at 8:25 in the morning, you'll be in Joburg by 9:10 in Sandton. The Grayston off-ramp, the William Nicol off-ramp will not be congested. How much petrol will you save on that trip in a day?
Staggering.
So what I'm saying is, let's look at being productive. Work an extra hour. Work the same time. Speak to your employees.
I see what you're doing.
That's it. But sitting in traffic, I don't know about you, but if you said to me right now, let's take a drive to Bella Bella, 160 kilometers away, I'm in. But if you said to me at 4:30, let's leave for Pretoria, because I live in Joburg, and it's going to take us an hour and a half to get home, and I'm going to be frustrated by the taxis driving in the left-hand lane, and everybody just driving like idiots. Because remember, South Africans, sadly, we do drive like idiots.
Badly. Yeah.
Okay? Got to call a spade a spade. What would I rather do? Open road driving. So again, tip of the podcast, if I could say that, adjust your habits, and I assure you, your real fuel usage won't change. I always laugh when people say, has the fuel really gone up? Because I go to the garage and I tell them to put in 1,000 rand, and they still put in 1,000 rand. And again, it's just a joke. But I really just want to say, I don't see personally the doom and gloom, because that's the way I am wired. Certain things we can't change. Certain things we can change. Stay healthy, eat healthy, exercise, and be mentally ready for what's coming. It's not going to last.
It's not going to last, but it is coming in April. Michael, thank you very, very much for joining us on Making Sense. So whether it's you keeping your vehicle, maybe if you're one of the fortunate few, an electric vehicle, if you're there, hybrids, there's options. Otherwise, please, I urge you to head over to Changecars. Go find them online on their socials. Of course, you'll find Michael Pashut's cell phone number as well. He's that brave. He's the CEO and founder of Changecars. I'm very grateful for him and making time for us here on ENCA. So what are you going to do? If anything, let us know on the socials. It's at ENCA on Facebook and on Instagram and X as well. It's at ENCA. And don't forget, leave your comments below. Love to hear from you. Back again next week. And it should probably be close to that fuel price increase come April. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.